your notifications.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us today. It's going to be a fun and exciting webinar, and we'll be talking about many things. So, as you know, the topic it's grow your business with the right marketing, digital marketing tools. So let's jump right into it. So first things first, as we know that the digital marketing landscape is continuously changing. COVID-19 has definitely been a topic that we cannot go without, and really we can't forget 2020 in itself. But it's important to really look at the strategies that have emerged and the learnings we can take forward from them and really understand the trends that are happening for the digital market in itself. The shift has definitely brought some aspects to life that will be lasting into our future and really allows us to take the next steps in ensuring what we can do will make a valuable difference going into 2021 and 2022. There are a fair share of challenges, and this webinar will really help us focus on what we want to achieve and how you can grow your business. We recently did a study, Sendinblue did a global study where we found out that email marketing, social media, and content are so important for small businesses and what the consumer really wants to see. It really highlights that importance and the impact that they made and how business can continue to grow. Uh, for this exact reason, really, we wanted to host this webinar and really give you the right tools and how organizations are using these tools and how businesses are using these tools, and they can continue to grow their business as effectively as possible. Just to highlight here, what we found out as we surveyed 4,200 participants was really the importance of email marketing being one of the top 4 methods, the importance of social media being Facebook and Instagram, and then how SMS marketing is continuously growing. Similarly, we found out how consumers want humorous content at least once a week or more, and how that content really impacts what you want to achieve. And with that, let's jump into introducing our panelists for today. So my name is Asad. I'm the brand manager for North America at Sendinblue. Sendinblue is an all-in-one marketing platform. We offer services such as email marketing, marketing automation, landing page creation, sign-up forms, you name it. We're your all-in-one marketing tool, and we have your back. Next, let's forward it to David.
Yeah, I'm David Stoffer. I'm VP of Marketing at Workona. And a little later on in the webinar, I'll talk more specifically about what we do at Workona.
Hi there, I'm Adam with a small agency called Digital Sandwich. We specialize in creating content both for your website and social media. Happy to be here.
Hi guys, my name is Vasik Naim. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Content Studio, which is a social media management and content marketing platform designed to help businesses grow the full potential of their social channels.
Fantastic. So with that, let's jump right into it. So our key takeaways from this webinar are really important. By the end of it, we want you to know how to best use email marketing, the benefits of marketing automation, how you can understand more about social media management, and how you can use content to really push forward. In the end, we'll really discuss an overall holistic view of digital marketing and what you can do to achieve the goals that you're looking for. So with that, David, the floor is all yours.
Great. As I mentioned, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on what we do at Workona, and I'm going to speak to specifically our marketing goals and how we've achieved those using a platform, email marketing platform like Sendinblue. So our mission statement at Workona is that we want to make work in the cloud a more unified and effortless experience. And how we do that is Workona, as a web app, a product, transforms your browser into a powerful work organizer for every project. So it organizes docs, links, often in the form of tabs, as well as notes, tasks, anything for a project that you have in one place, a place that we call workspaces. So within Workona, a user will have multiple workspaces, and in each workspace, you have all the tabs, docs, again, across all different cloud docs, all in one place. So it's really a work organizer built for people who work in the cloud. So we found that for our users, if they take a little bit of extra time when they first get into our product to overcome, some minor complexities, we found that people really grow to love Workona. They really learn to rely on it for all of their work. We hear that all the time. People talk about how they don't know how they were able to work in the cloud before Workona. So making sure people get over that initial complexity is important. And so one of the most important metrics that we rely on in terms of measuring our success is our daily and weekly active users. So again, given that Workona requires a little bit of complexity to overcome at the start, it's vital that we assist in the onboarding process via email with important educational tips. So going to the next slide here. I'm going to focus on these first two email marketing goals that we have, specifically, like I just mentioned, educating users on the problems that Workona can solve for them. So making sure that we are educating them in the email process, giving them tips that are valuable but brief. And so they know that when we're sending them emails, we're actually providing the value that's going to help them continue to learn how to use the product, rather than just blasting out a digest of, just new features we released or announcements for different things. We're actually providing real value to help them organize their work. And the second goal here, and that's part of adding value, is customizing our emails to make sure that we are as specific to the persona of the individual as possible. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about how exactly we do that. And we do that largely through Sendinblue's automation platform that we have found to be incredibly useful. So if you want to go to the next slide here, we found that a wide variety of personas rely on Workona. And it's hard because you can't really market to every single person all at once, right? A key marketing best practice, of course, is focusing on your target core market and go after them as much as possible. So we truly do have a lot of different personas that come after us. Some of the biggest ones are marketers, designers, people that are in client work, agencies, certainly people in customer success, product managers, founders, especially startups or SMBs. These are some of our core groups. So I want to go to the next slide. So I talked about that specificity and how we make Workona feel specific to the different personas. So this is just a quick example of our onboarding flow. We invite people to create and name their first workspace when they get in. If you go to the next slide here, this is where we ask them for their role. What do you do? So in this example here, I have marketing selected, but we have all these different options, these buckets of different personas. So once someone clicks on one, we trigger this in Sendinblue. We put them into a bucket, which I'll show in just a second. But once someone selects a persona, in this case, again, marketing, we put them into a Workona workspace, as you can see here, with some example templates. Specifically, email marketing is one of the example templates. This goes to show how this individual could use Workona. And again, since they're in marketing, we're hoping that these examples resonate with them. They see marketing campaign examples through Sendinblue. You see an Asana project in there called customer reactivation emails. We see, again, something that would resonate with any individual under the marketing bucket. So again, this feels unique and specific to them. So this is in the product. Now in the emails, if you go to the next slide, I mentioned the different buckets that we have in Sendinblue. So whether someone selects education, nonprofit, finance, support, we put them in one of these buckets once they self-select. And then on the next slide, you'll see we have some somewhat complex marketing automation flowcharts here, kind of that are triggered once that individual signs up and selects what persona they're a part of. So a first email, an example of a first email they would get on the next slide here is our Workona welcome email. If you want to move to there it is. So again, it's called Quick Tip Resources. We teach people how to use what we call resources or cloud resources within Workona. Now, this email is largely the same for all of the personas that we send it to. A key difference here is in two places. The image in the middle, which is generally an animated GIF. It's kind of hard to see here since it's kind of tall, but there's three different icons there, kind of next to the cursor. There's a HubSpot logo, Slack, as well as Google Analytics. We found those are three products that resonate with marketers. The second area here, the bottom, we talk about jump starting your workspace with some of our workspace templates. And in this case, we're showing them the marketing campaign template, the email marketing template, as well as the brand management template. Those two pieces of content are dynamically swapped out depending on the persona they select. So if someone selected dev or product, it would look largely like this, except those icons in the image would be for products that relate more to dev or product. And the templates that we serve up would be relevant, again, to that persona. we have found that this really helps resonate with users, makes them feel that Workona is built specifically for them, and it gives them examples of how to use it in their specific roles. On the next slide, you'll see examples of more of these emails, and I talked about them being kind of short, brief, to the point, and helpful. So here we walk through, specifically in Workona, how to work with tabs, how to save tabs as resources into workspaces, how to use our tasks and notes features within workspaces, how to collaborate within Workona. When you share a workspace, what happens? And then lastly, backup and restore. So how do you save your tabs and save your work? And what is Workona doing with our backup features? So these are all very useful things here. But again, on each one of these examples, you'll see images with different logo icons of different products. Those are all dynamically swapped out using automation in Sendinblue to match the persona of the individual that clicked it. So we're serving them both educational, helpful content, in addition to making it look and feel and speak specifically to them and their persona. I'm going to go to the next one here. So this is another example of one of our animated GIFs, just showing how to create a workspace by clicking that plus button. But if you had selected dev, you're going to get the GIF in the upper left-hand corner that shows GitHub and MDN, Mozilla documentation, Trello, Google Docs. If you're a designer, you're going to get the one in the upper right, Figma, InVision, Behance, Asana. So again, that specificity we have found has been crucial in both for our users to make it feel like it's for them, but also it's been crucial in increasing our open rates in these emails, as well as that translating into one of the metrics that's important to us that I spoke about at the beginning, which is our daily and weekly active users. So if you go on the next slide here, just to give you some numbers of what I mean by that. And this is really remarkable. We just switching from our last email provider in our service and the way we did welcome emails to the way we do it now within Sendinblue, we saw an enormous increase in our open rates. So getting a 43% open rate on the day one email, or that welcome email, that first one I showed you, which in my experience is pretty remarkable. 43% open rate, I don't see very often in some of our larger email sends. And so that's remarkable. What I think is even more remarkable is that by day 5, our day 5 email, the open rate actually increases by 2%. And our hypothesis there is that, they have, at this point, by day 5, they've received a few emails and they've learned that these are useful emails that speak specifically to them, that show them how to use the product. It's helpful content. And so as a result, we have seen an increase in the open rate throughout the drip campaign, which again is pretty remarkable, something I've never seen before. So the open rate is substantially increased. The second point here, again, we try to signal to users that our emails are going to be brief and value packed, as I've been saying. Like tip number 2, save anything in the cloud. And we try to keep them short and sweet. And general rule of thumb that we have at Workona when we're talking about the content of our emails is we ask ourselves, would I be thrilled to get this email as a customer? If the answer is no, we find a more compelling topic. We find a more compelling subject line. We find more compelling content. But we always ask ourselves, would we be thrilled? We all go through a lot of different emails. It's how quickly we unsubscribe or quickly mark done or delete. Obviously, we want to avoid that as much as possible. So we first have to ask ourselves, would we be thrilled to get this as a customer? Which for us has really helped us hone in and refine the content of the emails that we send. So to recap, the lesson here for us is twofold. One, if you're speaking, I know I'm hammering this point, if you are providing people value, something that's worth opening up, something that helps them, they will start to trust the emails you send. And second, if you have a way, like in Sendinblue, to be able to dynamically swap out content just to make, even if it's just a little bit of specificity, to make it feel more specific to the user, they will get more value and trust the content of your emails more. That's just the reality. And as a result for us, our open rates have increased, as well as our daily and weekly active users have increased. And for us, all of that was possible with Sendinblue, which we're super grateful for.
And just to add on to that, it's amazing, David. Thank you so much. Really how segmentation works and really pushes you forward on what content you want to send when you're working with email marketing. That's so important. I think it's important for everyone to know here who's joined. The more you segment the content you send, the more value you get out of it. Hence, David, as you mentioned, the 45% open rate, that's how people get it. If you're just sending one email to your whole database, you won't get the same acceptance or engagement that you expect. Once you start segmenting, you actually get the results that you're looking for. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So on to you, Adam.
Awesome. Thanks, Asad. So I'm going to talk about Content Studio eventually. I'm going to sing the praises of the tool, of the software. But first, I think that it's worth providing a little bit of value here and starting with the why social media is even a thing, why we do it. Because I feel like we sort of gloss over why we do social media. We just kind of we check the box because we're supposed to. We just kind of do it and move on. We're doing social media. And there's just way more to it than that. And it really has to do with the fact of the idea of know, like, trust, and the fact that we can create content and distribute it through the channels of social media in a way that moves people through levels of awareness. If we can deliver valuable educational content and wrap it up in personality and culture, we absolutely can manufacture know, like, trust. It's sort of like what a weatherman does on your local news, right? So every morning I tune in and the weatherman's he's telling me how I'm going to conduct my day, right? So what I'm going to wear, where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do and not do. And he's wrapping that all up inside of his personality and showing me kind of who he is. Therefore, whenever they move on and go to a different station, I'm somehow sad that this person that I've never met, I've never interacted with, actually is now gone. They've moved on. We're able to do this, and social media is absolutely a way that is a channel that we're able to do that through. It actually goes back to the book Breakthrough Advertising, Eugene Schwartz. Most marketers are going to know this book. And it's about that awareness by itself isn't really a thing. There's multiple levels of awareness. And we need to intentionally move folks through, proactively move folks through different levels of awareness until they become your clients. And don't forget, clients are still prospects. You probably can sell more to them or more often. Those are two different levers that you can pull. And to David's point, Sending Blue is a great way to make sure that you're still back in front, consistently automated back in front of those folks that we want to do business with. So the idea here is that, where do I start? Where do I start with social? It can be a little daunting. I've got an entire monthly calendar. It's empty. What am I doing? And consequently, what we do is we tend to do weird things like post randomly or just try to check that box. And so we provide content that isn't really worth it. So I'm going to provide just a simple framework, really simple. It's PB&J. But just like a sandwich, it can be modular. We can add more ingredients. We can get more complex. But just starting with a framework and then thinking about that framework as far as how we schedule really starts to add a level of intentionality. Is that a word? We can be a whole lot more intentional about how we're approaching it and a whole lot more strategic. Strategy definitely beats tactics any day. So the way that we look at this is the post method. So that's promote, organic, share, and test. And I'll break that down for you. Promote. This was actually a video, but it's not coming through. I apologize. Promote. The first thing that we want to do is think about where and what you've spent the most resources on your content is. It's most likely your website. You probably spent money on your website. You're probably blogging. If you're not, you probably know you should be. Your FAQ lives there. Your service pages live there. There's a whole discipline around it called SEO. You're probably spending some resources on your website. Are we utilizing the content that we've already created on the website to then turn into snackable social media appropriate posts back on social media? What I tend to see businesses doing very often is simply providing a link to the blog that they just posted, as if that's exciting for someone that's scrolling through their social media feed, looking at T-ball pictures, arguing about politics and whatever else they're doing on social. A link back to your blog is not terribly exciting. Whereas a repurposed type post where maybe we create like a highlight video or something like that from the post itself might be a whole lot more valuable. I'm sure you're seeing this posted all the time, repurposed content all over the place. The next one would be organic, right? So if we talk about organic, this is sort of what we think about. Actually, it was mentioned in the very beginning with the people like to see humorous posts and whatever. This is a tremendous opportunity to showcase culture and personality. But don't miss that it's also an opportunity to connect with the audience as well. It's an opportunity to tag other pages, other people. It's an opportunity to leverage their audience to yours. So this is what you think about, like, you know, here in a little bit, I'm probably going to go to lunch. I'll probably tag where I went to lunch, might take a picture of the sandwich that I eat. And that I get more reactions off that than anything. And when I bring my dog to work, when I bring the dog into the office, people love that. Different stories, reviews, testimonials. You know, when we say how great we are as a business, that's marketing. When somebody else talks about how great we are, that's the truth. And so are we taking those reviews off of the different channels where they may be left? Are we repurposing them into a video or a nice graphic? And are we posting that as well to highlight one of our customers and also indicate what other people are saying about us? You can also do contest events. The important thing here is to speak like your audience rather than to your audience whenever you're doing organic. Like the photo here, that post specifically, the idea behind that, the audience specifically there was moms. This is a tubing company that puts people out on the river. They float down the river in a tube for an hour and a half. And when you're thinking about who the audience is, we're thinking moms, dads, families, etc. Well, what's a mom want? A mom wants inexpensive family fun. They want to make memories. So we want to speak their language, hence make memories on the river. Next, we come to share. This is the next two are more about leveraging other people's content. Share is, but we're doing it with two different intentions. So share is where we're going to find an opportunity to share another page's content. And we would do that like with friends, maybe we do that with clients. We would do that with influencers in this space and even prospects, targets. And you would do that for really two reasons. One, it notifies them that you shared their content. They're like, oh, why are they sharing my stuff? And it starts to create some awareness. The other thing is it notifies the platform that you're indicating their people or my people. My people or their people. And the way that you can kind of double down on that is then to comment on the original post also. The last one is test. And this is super important or super helpful. You can use, obviously you don't exist in a silo. You have competitors, you have other authorities in your space, you have organizations, etc. If we want to go out and test, we can, what we would do is before we utilize our resources to create content, maybe we go test other people's content that's already been created around that, see if our audience even wants it. And again, if we comment on the post, we're also telling the platform that we are interested. We believe that our audience is their audience. So that is the post method. Now, how do we utilize that from a productivity standpoint? Well, we can start to batch create things. And what we would do is plan our calendar by category. So the example here is actually a screenshot from inside a Content Studio. And what we've done is we break it down by channel and then by category, by type of post. So we do our blog breakdowns. We have testimonials as a different category, the timely authority. And then what we do is we create a schedule and then a corresponding queue. So when we do a blog breakdown, we may get 6 to 10 posts out of a blog breakdown. We go ahead and add those all to the queue, and then the platform takes care of posting those. So and then we would do the same thing for reviews. We can crank out a ton of review posts, videos and or just images. We can crank out a ton of those really, really quickly. Let the brain stay in a lane and batch those things, and then let the platform take care of posting for you. Now, what you can do here is as that calendar fills up, you're not nearly as compelled to go post nonsense or junk posts that aren't going to get you any engagement, aren't going to get you any engagement whatsoever. We don't want to just check that box. So whenever we think about posting something organic, we're not doing it because we have nothing better to post. we filled in, and now we can sprinkle in those things that are actually interesting and might be interesting to our audience. When we start to schedule it into the categories, it starts to fill up like this. Now, 4 ways we can translate what I'm talking about here, that simple methodology. And yes, I know it's very simple. You can get much more complex with it. You can break down by channel. You can, if you're blogging a ton, those are multiple different categories, multiple different channels. You can be doing guest posts. You can be doing testimonials. You can be doing reviews, whatever you want. You start to get modular with that and really start to get creative. So the 4 ways that Content Studio makes life easy. First is RSS feeds. Then there is a BuzzSumo style trending content sourcing feature. The auto scheduling by category I already covered, and then post variations makes life pretty easy as well. The RSS feeds, I'm sure you're familiar with that. That's where a website actually has a feed out that Content Studio can capture. So if we went to, say, the Digital Marketer website or the HubSpot website, what have you, we go to one of those, we know that they put out great content, the Moz website, whatever, and they have an RSS feed. We can actually automate. Content Studio goes out and fetches it, pulls in anything that they're posting, and then we can modify that post and push directly to a category that you already have pre-scheduled. Now, that doesn't have to happen automatically. It can. You can also check the box that you have to approve it first. Super helpful. Now that's doing sort of the content aggregation for us. The next would be the BuzzSumo style trending content sourcing. This is built right into your platform. It's called Discover. You can go in there and find top performing content, and you can actually break that down by web, video, how long it's been live, if it's been the last 3 days, 7 days, 3 months, what have you. And then we can look at the insights from that, where it's being shared, who the top influencers are inside of that topic as well. Super helpful when you're outsourcing that authority content that you're trying to leverage. Then the auto scheduling by category, like I said, you can start to get really granular with this. It's as complex as you want it to be. I intentionally shared a very simple method just because we can keep it simple. It's better than not doing anything, and it's better to be intentional about it and then build up the complexity as you create more and more and more content. And then the post variations is the last thing that I wanted to show you. Inside of the posting mechanism where we go to create a post, we can actually click that. We can write our sort of base post and then click that little slider there for customized content for each channel. And then we can modify each of those, adding hashtags, you can actually save those right in there. You can kind of business it up a little bit if you're posting to LinkedIn versus Facebook. You can add way more hashtags to the Instagram than the LinkedIn. Whatever is appropriate for the channel, you can edit that right there. Super, super time saving and helpful. You're not creating a bunch of posts, additional work for yourself. So 5 takeaways. Number 1, social media matters because we can actually manufacture know, like, and trust and expand that audience. And then to connect back to the first part, you have a great tool. There's a great tool, Sendinblue, to then make sure that we're getting back in front of them, and we can even automate it. Number 2, plan a calendar that schedules categories, not posts. It's a much better way to eat the elephant one bite at a time. You won't believe how fast your calendar starts to fill up with meaningful, relevant, educational content. And then it allows us to free up our brain to post the organic, humorous, interesting, culture type personality posts. Number 3, start simple and then get complex. This is a modular way to look at it. You can add other letters. It doesn't have to be POST, right? Number 4, start with evergreen posts that you've repurposed from your website, fill it in with authority, and then finally pepper in your organic culture posts. That's a psychological trick just to make sure that you're not thinking, you're not overdoing it, you're not going crazy, trying to come, well, I need to post something today, and you post garbage. That's just trying to get you to post things that are relevant. Edit posts for channel relevancy. And number 6, schedule using a framework and a tool like Content Studio. Makes it much easier. My final thoughts, takeaways, hopefully, for marketers: productivity. That's what this tool gives you. Productivity can free you up time to do other marketing or other money-making activities. For business owners or brands, if you're on the call, it's going to allow you to be more effective by diversifying your types of posts intentionally, and then creating posts around that intention that you've diversified. You're absolutely going to see an increase in reach and engagement. That Float the River company that I showed, 57% increase over the last 3 months when we switched to this strategy using Content Studio to automate it.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Adam. So let's really bring it all together. We've discussed so much. Maybe we can do a quick little recap. Really, the goal here for today's webinar and giving you all this information is really making your life easier. And by easier, I mean, helping you grow your business by using the right tools in itself. A few words of wisdom from my end. 2021, we've had a lot of trends. Something that we've seen a lot is the fact that marketing automation is becoming bigger and bigger, and more businesses need to start incorporating it. Similarly, personalizing your content is so important because you need to start engaging with your community as soon as possible and as efficiently as possible. So personalizing your content, making use of marketing automation, and really bringing it all together. You can see tools like Sendinblue and Content Studio, they can merge in together, really give you that full holistic view of how you can really make the most out of your digital marketing. But that's just it from my end. Vlasic, Adam, David, anything you'd like to add before we jump into questions?
I just want to add this that a few years back, like social media was in the background, whereas now it is a cornerstone of every business's growth strategy. So what we have tried to do is create a tool that helps businesses implement complex, multi-layered social media strategies. So with the features such as content discovery for ideation, scheduling and publishing, workflow approval, social media analytics, and social inbox to connect with your audience. So yeah, our goal was to save people time, improve their productivity, and boost their ROI.
Amazing. So with that, let's jump into questions. There's a question tab on the right. Feel free to throw your questions in and we'll answer them accordingly. Again, thank you so much, all of you, for joining. I hope this is really helpful. But yeah, let's jump into it. Question time. So let's start from the top. So we can go with Amara. So email marketing, primary form of communications. I think really when it comes to standing out for SMBs, it's all based on personalizing the content. It could be as simple as writing engaging subject lines. It could be segmenting the content based on who you're targeting. Again, firm believers. So your segmentation could be based on individuals who identified themselves as female, who opened your last 2 emails. That could be a segment that you can reach. You can segment in really any possible way. It could be someone. You can segment accordingly to a geographic area. You could segment to accordingly individuals who have not opened your email. So definitely that's how you start standing out in the user's inbox, is by segmenting, and again, giving them the content that they want. So I hope that answers your question. Jumping onto that, I think the next one we have from Matthew. How does Later compare to Content Studio? Vlasic, Adam, you want to discuss that a bit?
Yeah, so with Content Studio, you get like a multitude of integrations where you can post to almost all social channels, including GMB. You can publish videos to YouTube. You can even create and publish blogs to WordPress, to Shopify, to Medium. So it gives you like a much more freedom. Secondly, the content discovery module is like really rare for social media tools to have. So you can create topics and then viral trending articles from all over the web would start populating your feed. And it is really ideal for content ideation. You have workflow approval, you have social media analytics, and again, social media inbox where you can chat with people, interacting on your posts and sending you messages. So that is all combined and wrapped up in a very beautiful UI design.
Sweet. Next question from Amber. Is there a transition from later difficult one? So I think this is for you again, Vasek.
No, I don't think so. So we have this really awesome onboarding process where we will take you through the tool and share the vast knowledge that we have gathered over the years, talking to agencies such as such as Digital Sandwich. So we will gather your queries or your problems, and we will propose a solution for you. Since all the right tools are there, it's just about hitting that sweet spot that works specifically for you.
Amazing. Thank you, Vasek. Again, open to more questions. Don't be shy. We have the question tab on the right, so feel free to ask anything. If you don't have a question right now, I'd love to ask a question from our three panelists here as well. Really, what do you think are the current trends that are going to be coming up for 2022? For example, we're already done halfway with 2021. What do you think, or what do you think your strategies will be in incorporating more digital media, or what do you think will be changing? A bit curious to know about that.
I'll jump in. I think that one of the biggest things is going to be omnichannel retargeting. I think that we're going to have to engage people everywhere as they continue to diversify where they're spending time. And I'm not saying that just as go stalk people everywhere. That's not really what I mean. I mean, be mindful about how you're engaging them on different channels. Be mindful of engaging them about where they are in their level of awareness, and be channel appropriate. Email is a retargeting mechanism. It's a very highly effective one. Well, I think that gets lost sometimes because we think about retargeting on Facebook, retargeting on Twitter, retargeting on LinkedIn, blah, blah, blah. It's not just those social channels that are really how we retarget. Being intentional and being mindful, being channel specific, and taking the time to understand where your audience is and engaging them there in a way that they want to be engaged with.
Well, I have one other thing to add to that question, Asad. You had mentioned at the beginning of this webinar about humor. That some data suggested, correct me if I'm wrong, that humor is welcome in marketing messaging, or is that it is encouraged? I can't agree enough with that assertion, especially those of us that are in the B2B space. I think oftentimes it's easy to think like B2C, like to consumer, that's the place to have the funny commercials or the funny advertisements, the funny emails. But in B2B, historically, we've kept it more stuffy and more kind of like enterprise business related. When in reality, B2B marketing, you're marketing to consumers still. You're marketing to humans still. The same humor that would work in B2C works in B2B. And I know that from firsthand. I've been part of campaigns where we, have successfully worked in meme culture in B2B projects. And you can look up, the last company I worked at was called Lucid Chart. We did a whole campaign about Lucid Chart diagrams, and we diagrammed doggos in the doggo lingo. And it was a huge success of a campaign for a B2B product because it was funny and it was engaging. And I think, especially having gone through 2020, we've all been through it. And I think some laughter is welcome. It's okay if there's an email, again, in the B2B space that's a little bit light and a little bit funny. I think that's going to be welcome and encouraged. And I actually think it'll be a huge part of marketing in 2021 and beyond.
We're getting a little bit more authentic, I think, is where that's going. Somebody asked the question in the questions about would you share a picture of the dog on LinkedIn? Wouldn't it be channel specific? Maybe. I would. I wear Hawaiian shirts every day of my life, though. That's the personality. That's the culture of my agency. If it's not on brand for you, don't do that. The last thing I want to do is pose as someone I'm not. And so I'm going to be all shirt and tie and whatever over on LinkedIn. I get a meeting. We have our first cup of coffee, if you will. And here I am. I'm not going to pretend to be somebody that I'm not. People are either going to do business with me because or because not. I think it's okay to be authentic.
Amazing. Yeah, I agree. Being authentic is the most important, and sending out that right message. I think we got a couple more questions. I think this one's for you, Adam. Do you find that the post method applies similarly across all social media platforms? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, but it does require tweaking, right? So, I mean, from a technical standpoint, if I do like a review video as part of one of my ways of doing videos or a testimonial video, I can't post that on Google My Business. So from a technical standpoint, maybe I want to change the sizing of the videos on LinkedIn. Maybe I want to do a 16:9, and I want to do square with video overlay and a progress bar, all like that. The BuzzFeed style that I mentioned before. I think that there are technical things that you would adjust per channel, which again, this is why you use a tool like Content Studio. Otherwise, I get lost and I have to attack it completely separately and in a silo. I'm going at this channel, then this channel, then this channel. Are the things relevant? I still think that all four of those things are relevant. The organic might be less so on LinkedIn, but again, back to the last question. If that's brand, if that's on brand for me, it's on brand for me. And I'm engaging with a crowd a little bit differently and at different times. Here's the other thing to remember. People don't read your news feed like a book. They're not just, well, very seldom are they. They're probably not going to your page and just looking at every post that you've done for the last 2 months. Your posts are showing up in their feed, whether it's because the algorithm thinks that they should, because you've done your homework and you've sort of told the algorithm what to think of your page, or you've paid to place it there, which we didn't get into that today. I love paid traffic. I love paid social because I can buy the eyeballs that need to see me, that need to see the stuff. So people don't read it as a book. They see it when they see it. So engaging on multiple platforms, you're just spreading out. You're just spreading out your ability to be seen.
Amazing. Thank you for that, David. Adam, that was a pretty interesting answer. Next one. So we're about Sendinblue. Tracking user activity on the website. An interesting question. I think the way it goes is, for example, if you're sending out an email and you have a couple of links in the email, you'll get information on the tracker on who's clicked on that and how many numbers you have on that accordingly. Similarly, if you're using a marketing automation to build lead scores, you can track on what those scores are, but specifically focusing on user activity if they've gone on XY page, I don't think that's as much possible, but you can really work it through on how you're setting your marketing automation workflows or how you're setting up your emails accordingly. With that, another question on Sendinblue. Plan on social inclusion feature in Sendinblue, an easy means to get UGC or business accounts postings in practice like Instagram. Excellent question. I do not have the answer for that, but I will definitely check in with our product team to see if you're working on a similar feature for that. I know we did raise $160 million in last October, and really the goal with that is to continue improving the product and really adding features that would benefit SMBs more and more and more. I hope that answers your question. We have another question that says, using KI tools like Freezer, can they help? I think this is a question for you, Vasek. Any thoughts on your end?
I'm really sorry, I don't understand this question.
Could we get a bit more information on this?
So I can jump in on that.
Yeah.
Phrase, the AI tools like the content writing GPT-3 tools, Jarvis, Phrase just launched theirs yesterday. Totally get it. I don't, my opinion, I think that they're helpful if they're used properly, if they're seeded. Like you can't just have it write a blog for you and leave it alone. It's not going to spit out something that's it's not going to be high enough quality. I don't think that that's what it's even intended to do. Helping with writer's block, helping fill in blanks, helping you do outlines, that sort of thing. I absolutely love AI for that. And it's certainly the future. I don't think that it replaces writers It certainly doesn't replace editors. You still got to fact check. And I still think that you need to talk to the subject matter expert so that you're not just aggregating what's already been written into one thing. We called that a research paper in high school, and they're really boring. So why not create actual custom content by talking to the subject matter expert and having AI help you?
Amazing, Adam. I hope that answers your question on using AI tools. I've seen a couple of AI tools coming up. They're very interesting. I think it's still a bit early, but AI is going to keep coming. I think AI is very important, and it'll start getting more incorporated as marketing goes forward. Let's jump into the next question. Oh, this is a good one. Marketing software and apps are becoming increasingly common. Can we expect high-profile social media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram to ease their API limitations? That's a very good question. Who'd like to take a crack at this one, gentlemen?
Yeah, I'd like to answer that. So with the giant tools, giant platforms, as you mentioned, it's always a bit difficult to predict behavior. But what we have seen lately is with Instagram, they didn't allow their API integration for many of the third-party tools, such as ourselves, which is Content Studio. Only Hootsuite, which was a pioneer in social media management tools, had that API. But just recently, about like 2-3 months ago, they have opened up their API for direct publishing for third-party tools. So that has enabled us to integrate Instagram direct publishing, so you can publish stories and images as you go. So I think seeing this trend from one of the biggest platforms such as Instagram, I think the future looks pretty bright for us.
Amazing. Thank you, Vasik. That's a great explanation, actually. I really like that answer. Adam, I see you've already answered the next question, but I'd love for you to walk everyone through it. And it's a question about social media marketing, and is it really about creating a lifestyle as a business and its own personality? Well, again, what are your thoughts? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what this is boiling down to. Amber, I think that's a great call out. That's a great way of saying it. You know, as we look through the lens of how do I want to attack social media, what am I trying to accomplish? And you're saying creating a lifestyle, giving it a personality. I think that's absolutely part of it, but I think that we can actually accomplish even more than that. That's why I say know, like, and trust. We can actually drive all three of those things. We know what we need to do. What are the ingredients for trust? What are the ingredients for know and like? There's a time element to it. There's a consistency element. There's a value element. I'm going to trust someone if they've demonstrated competency, if they've demonstrated expertise over time, if they do what they say they're going to do over time. So there's a time element to it, and this is absolutely the channels and the methodology that allow us to do all three at the same time. And I just feel like if we looked at it through that lens, that we would do exactly what Amber's saying here, and that is really showcasing our personality. And part of our personality probably ought to be expertise.
Amazing, Adam. Thank you so much. I think that was wow, so insightful. Everyone, please feel free to ask more questions. We have another 10 minutes or so to go. We love questions, don't we?
There's one question from. Sorry, there's Cameron had a question. I would love to. I answered it in there, but I want to speak more specifically to it.
Yeah, okay. Definitely. Let's jump on that for sure.
Just asking a question about Workona, specifically comparing it to a Start.me. It looks like a bookmark app. Which Workona, I guess, think of it like bookmarks but on steroids. There's several key differentiators here from like a bookmark app, where Workona is certainly more focused on cloud-oriented work. It's not just a bookmark app, because in our workspaces, you're able to save resources just like a bookmark app would be able to do. Some key differentiators, though, are with Workona, you can collaborate on workspaces. So you can share a specific workspace. So think of it like bookmarks that are collaborative, they can share with your team. But even more specifically than that, if you actually enable our tab management features within Workona, you can save your open tab session to a workspace. So if you have multiple workspaces for your different projects you're working on, you click on a workspace, it'll close out the tabs and open up whatever tabs you had opened the last time you were in that workspace or what you saved to that workspace. So it's not just having bookmarks in there, but your literal tab sessions can be in there. So you can close out the browser, not worry about losing any tabs, because each session of tabs is saved to that workspace. So there's tab management built in, there's collaboration built in, and other than just having the bookmark saved in, we have a place for notes and tasks and resources saved to each workspace as well. So certainly bookmarking is one component of it, but think of it like that on steroids. So anyway, just wanted to answer that specifically.
And just to add on, we actually use Workona for planning this webinar in itself, and it was so easy to use. Really, it was set up so conveniently. If I wanted to, for example, if I want to check everyone's LinkedIn, it was already set up. We had a Google Doc ready with all the information, our presentation, everything was put in. So it's a very easy workflow. So rather than me checking my other million tabs, I'll just go on my Workona tab and be like, oh, okay, I have all the information that I need. So it's I think definitely more than just a bookmark tool in itself. It's definitely on steroids, but really convenient. And the color scheme is so easy on the eyes. So I think I had a great experience using Workona.
Thanks. I may have had a little bit to do with the branding, so I appreciate that.
So absolutely love it. So we have
we actually collaborated on this whole webinar inside of Workona.
Yeah. It's been a great experience. Like so far, I think it's a great. I think I'm going to use it more and more. Great. So we have another question. So is there a maximum number of collaborators, users that can be within a workspace?
Yeah,
David,
actually, there's no maximum collaborators right now. In fact, we will be shortly launching our pro plans. So right now, everything is offered for free. We will always have a free level that allows, several workspaces and several, so there will be a very usable free tier that we always plan on having. But when it comes to actual collaboration, that will still be included on the free tier, and there's no real limit to the amount of collaborators you can have. And so, it's fairly straightforward.
And then a follow-up question for you, David, as well, is there an intro video for Workona?
Yeah. If you go to workona.com, you'll have lots of content on there. In terms of, we do have an explainer video. I'm actually in the middle of editing the newest updated one. So I love that question, Jeff, because I'm about to finish the newest explainer video. So I'll be sure to get that done. This is motivation for me to finish that as soon as possible. But throughout the website, there are lots of videos and animated GIFs and looping videos that really kind of show each feature pretty specifically.
Nice. So so many questions. I love it. Thank you, everyone, for participating. So we have a question from Marco. And Adam, I think you responded as well. Would you like to add a bit more so everyone else can get a piece?
Yeah, so I think how I would approach that, and Marco, thanks for elaborating because I wasn't totally sure. I think how I would approach that is each language is a different audience. That's a different persona. So I would address each one differently. That's opportunity to post multiple times in those native languages. So if you're in Spain, but your company is Italian, your main target is located in Spain and Italy. So I would think Spanish, Italian, and English. I would think.
I would like to add something as well. So what you can do is you can look at your social media channel analytics, right? And you can see where the people are from who are interacting with your page, where it's your actual audience is from. It might not be even from Spain or from Italy. So you have to see where the audience is from, where that you can do in within social media analytics. And then with the majority, when you identify where the majority of the people are from, you should post content in that language. One other thing you can do is you can have separate workspaces for specific regions. Have them their time set accordingly, and then post in multiple languages as you wish.
Yeah, I mean, especially at Send and Blue, I mean, we're a global company. You know, we have offices in Paris, Berlin, US, in India. So it's really, you know, it comes down to us when we're pushing out content. You know, it's when we're doing localized content specific to a region, we'll keep it in that language. When we do our global content, it's mostly based on, we keep it in English. So it's really what Marco, like, you know, what's your strategy and how you want to push it forward as well. You know, like I said, at a global level, it will always be English, but when we're localizing, it'll be in a specific language in itself. So I hope that really helps in understanding. Sweet, we have about 4 minutes or so left, so we'll take maybe a couple more questions, then we can do a quick close. This one's for you, David. Roadmap for Marcona. Any big features you are working on?
Yeah, yes. The answer is yes. I don't know if our CEO is tuning in or not, but he'd probably kill me if I said too much. And I am known to be, you know, a bit talkative. But I will say one thing we have been under NDA for up until last week, we just launched, was our Workona app for Zoom. So those workspaces I talked about where you can save all those resources or like bookmarks, you can now open those directly within a Zoom window meeting. And you can have that be shared with everyone so they can all be working from the same set of resources. Notes and tasks are all built in right into Zoom. So that's our most recent really big launch. And then in the future, we're working on some really interesting workflow automation features built within workspaces that we're excited about. Thanks for the question, Cameron. Appreciate it.
Definitely quite exciting. Oscar, let's keep this as the last question. If you're starting from scratch with no customers, what's the best way for your product in lead gen in this case? I mean, you can do so many things, right? You could be creating, I think definitely in this case, you know, you could create a landing page, for example, and drive traffic. You could do gated content. You can have signups through email marketing, you know, hey, sign up to our newsletter. You see this everywhere. You could do something as simple as, you know, have a social media post and be like, hey, just starting out, sign up. So many ways of creating that audience in itself. And, you know, you can use the right tools, you know, where you're pushing forward. You know, we've been testing, for example, TikTok as a new approach to getting more contacts, really increasing that customer base, for example. So really finding the right social media channels for you to push on and getting the signups in terms of getting those product leads in this case. But yeah, for us, I think something really cool is we really pushed gated content. Gated content's a good way to build leads. You can use Send and Blue actually to work. You can use automation to really segment, to refine your segmentation and actually build a lead score and actually update your CRM and actually start reaching out to people once they hit that lead score, for example. So it's really, you can do so much with it. And then, we have 2 minutes left, so maybe you can do one more question. Yeah.
Asad, I would actually chime in on that as well. The other thing that I think that is important to realize is the marketing research that social media provides you as well, right? So you can be testing and validating your messages, testing and validating your offers. You can even test and validate products pre-launch using social media. Throw it out there and see if they respond or not before you go diving in trying to drive a bunch of traffic to an offer that doesn't convert. So that is one of the ways that we can absolutely at the beginning it's super inexpensive to get in front of a whole lot of eyeballs that should purchase what you have, but maybe they don't understand your offer. Get clarity on that messaging. That's what I would say.
Amazing. I know we're at just a minute, so I'll probably start wrapping it up. Just a quick last slide. Just added everyone's email, LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out and connect with us if you have any questions. We will be sharing the replay of the webinar so you don't lose it. But yeah, thank you so much for joining, everyone. I think we had a great time. Again, David, Adam, Vasek, thank you so much for everything. This has been a great adventure for me. I had a great time, and I learned so many things. So again, thank you so much.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having us. It was a great experience.
Have a good rest of your day, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.